Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. Whether you're here in person or visiting with us virtually, thanks for joining us. I'm Reverend Doug Zimmerman, and I'll be leading worship today. A few announcements before we begin. Today, being the first Sunday of the month, we will be celebrating Holy Communion. There are communion elements in the narthex in the back if you haven't picked those up. And I invite anyone joining us virtually, if you'd like to join us in the celebration of Holy Communion, to have whatever you find appropriate to join us with communion. The flowers on the altar are in celebration of the July birthdays given by Joe Offenbecker. And there's a few of us who have July birthdays. I say us, meaning corporately. I'm not in July, but otherwise. So if you have a July birthday, please stand. Congratulations. And one of our members, Len, who has a birthday this month, is going to be 90 years old. So if you would feel open to sending him a card, that would probably be very much appreciated. The July Mission of the Month and the July Blessing Bucket are this month given for blessings in a backpack. So if you feel so inclined to helping that organization, please make a donation. Coffee time is before worship at 10, so obviously it's past that, but also after worship. So if you'd like to go to Peace Hall, down the stairs over that away to my right, your left, downstairs and straight ahead, please go down there. And Cheryl. Okay, thank you. There's birthday cards available in Parish Hall, so if you'd like to sign those for the people who have birthdays, please do. The church office will be closed July 4th and 5th. And you see the pulpit supply list. Also, a reminder, if you'd like to give flowers that are on the altar, there's the announcement about how that can be done. At the last council meeting the other night, we made the decision that we are going to start locking all the doors after worship begins, just for the safety of everyone. I learned, Gary and I learned yesterday in talking to someone that one of our sister churches in the Eastern Association had an incident within the last month where the police had to be called. And so just to keep everyone safe, we are locking all the doors. If you happen to arrive late one Sunday, Gary or somebody will be sitting back there. If you knock on the Riverside door, you will be welcomed. It's just that it may take a minute to let you in. And just for everybody's awareness, other churches I've served, once the door is locked, it's locked. All the doors have breaker bars, so we are safe. If in need of an emergency, we can get out, even though the door is locked. And Jamie has an exciting announcement for us this morning.
Good morning, everybody. And our friends at home, good morning. I'm Jamie Howard Breeden, council member here. But advertisement, are you ready for this? Are you passionate about social media? Are you passionate about reaching out to the community and trying to, build some numbers here? Then we have a new committee for you. We are starting a community outreach committee. The goal and objective and purpose of our church during worship service, so there will be some tasks during that time, but also go out into the community, go to different events here in Kankakee, Bradley, or Bourbonnais, potentially get merchandise made and just say, hey, we're St. John United Church of Christ, come be with us. And so if you are interested in joining this committee, want to give input of how this committee forms and develops, myself and Mike Zering are going to be chairing this committee. We're looking for just a small group who are both comfortable with social media, so you're not afraid to post probably something once a week, or going out to community events and representing the church. So once again, if you're interested in joining this committee, you can talk to myself or Mike. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jamie. An exciting opportunity. I sort of see that group, and I'm just, from my perspective, probably the people serving on that group will be half my age, because most people... How many of you learned something new about a pencil? I did, yeah, I did too. So sometimes it helps to go out and do a little research. This morning's lesson is taken from the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament, 2 Kings, and when I did the bulletin, I made an error. And right now, I can't go back and erase it because it's not in pencil, it's in ink. So luckily, our office administrator, Pam, printed the scripture reading for me. I already brought it, but I noticed hers was different than mine. And I looked at it and I thought, what's the difference? She went by what I put in the bulletin, verses 11 through 14 for 2 Kings chapter 5. I really want to start with verse 1. So it's 1 through 14, and luckily our technology group up there, when I explained what happened, they said, no problem. And I think, like magic, it's going to be on the screen. So, if you like, follow along this morning. From 2 Kings, chapter 5, verses 1 through 14. Naaman was a general of the army under the king of Aram. He was important to his master, who held him in highest esteem, because it was by him that God had given victory to Aram, a truly great man, but afflicted with a grievous skin disease. It so happened that Aram, on one of its raiding expeditions against Israel, captured a young girl who became a maid of Naaman's wife. One day she said to her mistress, "Oh, if only my master could meet the prophet of Samaria, he would be healed of his skin disease." Naaman went straight to his master and reported what the girl from Israel had said. "Well, then go," said the king of Aram, "and I'll send a letter of introduction to the king of Israel." So he went off, taking with him about 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothes. Naaman delivered the letter to the king of Israel. The letter read, "When you get this letter, you'll know that I've personally sent my servant Naaman to you. Heal him of his skin disease." When the king of Israel read the letter, he was terribly upset, ripping his robe to pieces. He said, "Am I a god with the power to bring death or life, that I get orders to heal a man from his disease? What's going on here? That king's trying to pick a fight, that's what." Elijah asked that he ripped his robe to shreds. He sent word, though, to the king. "Why are you so upset, ripping your robe like this? Send him to me, so he'll learn that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman, with his horses and chariots, arrived in style and stopped at Elijah's door. Elijah sent out a servant to meet him with this message: "Go to the river Jordan and immerse yourself 7 times. Your skin will be healed, and you'll be as good as new." Naaman lost his temper. He turned on his heel, saying, "I thought he'd personally come out and meet me, call on the name of God, wave his hand over the diseased spot, and get rid of the disease. The Damascus rivers, Abana and Pharpar, are cleaner by far than any of the rivers in Israel. Why not bathe in them? I'd at least get clean. He stomped off, mad as a hornet. But his servants caught up with him and said, Father, if the prophet had asked you to do something hard and heroic, wouldn't you have done it? So why not simply wash and be clean? So he did it. He went down and immersed himself in the Jordan River 7 times, following the orders of the holy man. His skin was healed. It was like the skin of a little baby. He was as good as new. Here ends a reading from 2 Kings. Have you ever asked, you want me to do what? Yeah. Or been asked that question? And if you've been asked, who asked you that question? Perhaps there's times when you've felt God asking that question, and you've said, you want me to do what? What do you feel this morning that God is asking you to do? What would the sacrifice be to do what God asks? Can you follow the 10 Commandments? Can you love God and love your neighbor as yourself? Can you do all that? Or is God asking too much? This morning's reading suggests a different perspective on God's request. Naaman, remember, is the commander of the army of Aram. Militarily, he seems unstoppable. He's one of the most powerful and feared men in the world. But he has leprosy, a horrible, wasting disease. His wife's maid, captured from Israel, suggests that he can be cured. She says that he should go to the prophet in Israel. Naaman takes a message to the king of Aram. The king of Aram then sends a message to the king of Israel. And when the king of Israel receives the message, he panics. Elijah, the prophet, hears what happened. And then he sends word to the king not to be so upset. Elijah asks the king to send Naaman to him. Naaman realizes that he's in no position to bargain, so he goes expecting to pay a high price to be cured. Elijah surprises Naaman. When Naaman arrives, Elijah sends out a servant to tell Naaman what to do. The servant says, go to the river Jordan and immerse yourself 7 times. Then you'll be healed. Naaman is not happy. He's very angry with this response. You want me to do what? There's that question again. He didn't even get to see Elisha. He, Naaman, a powerful military person, treated like this. Naaman expected that Elijah would come out and meet him, and Naaman expected him to call on God to heal him with a waving of his hand over him. Wash in a dirty river? Other rivers are cleaner in Jordan than the river that he's asked to go in, according to Naaman. Why not wash in one of those rivers and at least be clean? Fortunately, Naaman's